is good, you just don't know how to access it. And today we're going to talk about a different kind of thing that I haven't seen in books, but it's definitely something that's taught in a lot of different places. How many people here are familiar with the concept of visualization? Why do most of us visualize? Ludi's like, I don't know.
To make changes, to
I
go
mean,
for a goal.
right, to motivate us, right? We visualize so that we can calm down, right? That's part of our meditation, right? To take a break from reality. But today we're going to talk about a different kind of visualization. And it's, you've heard me say, I'm all about the applied use of these things, of these tools, right? So today we're actually going to talk about how we can use, I don't want to call them visualizations because they don't tend to be on purpose, right? So we're talking about memories that drop in on us and shift us out of that lovely state. They keep us away from attaining a peaceful state. And a lot of this is, it's automatic, right? You know, I don't choose to think about that horrible trauma that I experienced on the road the other day. You know, I don't choose to think about the past. Something triggers me and suddenly it's there. Has anybody else experienced this? Yeah, I'm getting some. Yeah. There is not a single experience in your life that is useless or bad if you know how to use it. And today, that is what I'm going to share with you. So I've got here, these are my notes. Okay, this is literally my notes for this. Bear with me. Where does emotional trauma originate? Does anybody have an idea? Chime in.
At conception.
What part of the brain? The amygdala.
Well, and if we think about it, the amygdala is still responding to the event, right? So emotional trauma starts with the event happening. Now, there has been so much amazing research that shows that what happens in the body when we have an emotional event, the chemical reactions, they titrate through our system in about 90 seconds. So the event that we experienced has gone through us in about 90 seconds. So why are we continuing to be traumatized by it weeks, months, years later? So I'm like, my notes are actually not helping me, they're disturbing me. fMRI studies show that experiencing an event and remembering the event are completely the same to the brain. So what does that mean? If you are remembering an event, you are essentially dosing yourself with those same stress hormones that you did when you first experienced the event. Now, what happens when that happens? Your whole body goes into this awesome questioning phase. And if you know me, you know that questions are my jam. But today we're going to talk about what happens when you ask the question, an image appears, right? A lot of us have had health issues. How many times in your past have you said, what's wrong with me? Why can't anyone figure out what's wrong? You know what happens when you ask yourself that question? Your subconscious answers you. Yeah. Those are not answers that we're looking for, right? So I talk about questions a lot, but I have to keep myself focused because today we're going to talk about the image that comes up, right? When we ask ourselves a question, an image comes up to help us answer that question. Sometimes we're triggered by something and an image pops up and we get more and more sucked into a spiral. So today, I want to teach you how to use those images. In my practice, I teach people about two distinctive types of visualization. So the first one is associating with an image. And in this image, what we would do, like Robin said, we would motivate ourselves. We would start to feel that inspiration. We can bring ourselves inner peace just by creating the image. We can do that one another time. Today, we're going to talk about dissociated images. We have to work for this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to all come up with an image. Does anybody here have trouble visualizing? I did for many years. Does anybody have trouble If I ask you to imagine an apple, can you see it? And if you take that apple, can you cut it in half? Can you see the color of the apple? Okay. Now, can you take that apple and stick it on a moose's nose? Yeah. If you can do these things, then you can manipulate your images, and that is a very important skill that I myself had to learn. Okay. So if you can do this without having to learn all these processes, you are in really good shape for this. So now Debbie's like, what? For this, what I'd like you to do, and I want you to try to keep this a little superficial. Like, don't go into a deep trauma, but I want you to remember the last time that you got really irritated. Let's stick with irritation instead of anger, okay? So think about that last time and start to play it through in your head. And when I ask you, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to guide you through it. You don't have to answer. But is the image that you're seeing, is this video that's playing out in color or in black and white? And if it's in color, I want you to do your magical visual skills and turn it to black and white. Can you start to do that? I want to see a few nods here. If you can turn it to black and white. Okay. The image that you're seeing, how's the speed? Is it moving really fast? Is it moving perfect speed? Because if it's normal, I'd like you to adjust it. Make it move a little bit more slowly. It's really going to be an annoying image to watch. You ready? I know, right? Okay, so it's black and white. It's a little bit slow. There's a reason for that, though. There's always a method for my madness. So is it all around you? Is it like you're living in it? And if it is, I want you to make it no larger than the size of your phone screen, like you're watching a Netflix. It's black and white. It's a little bit slow. I want you to make it a little bit fuzzy. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, it's best if it's not. So now it's black and white. It's small. It's moving a little slow. It's a bit fuzzy. Sorry about that, guys. And I want you to watch yourself as you go through this experience. Now remember, your brain is going, wait a minute, this feels a little bit different now because it's not in color and it's kind of small. If you are looking through your own eyes in this image, if you're seeing other people around you and your hands maybe in front of you, let's do some amazing mental gymnastics. Flip yourself out of that. I want you to watch this person who looks so much like you, is not you. Watch this person who is experiencing this event and about to get real irritated. Can you see it? Okay. So it's slow and fuzzy. Sorry, guys. That person who looks so much like you, but is not you, is about to trip into something that you don't want. Now, here's the fun part. What we're going to do now is watch that person. God, they look so much like you. Not you. Watch that person as they are triggered by that irritation and see all the different things that happen. I'm going to give you a sample. When I get irritated, here's what happens. See this? It happens so fast. It happens so fast. And as soon as I do this, oh, my pattern is set. You're going to hear it from me because I'm irritated. Does everybody have that image? Have you seen what that person who looks so much like you does when they're about to fall into that pattern of irritation? That automatic process that everyone who knows you knows, oh, back up. If you can see what that person is doing, I want you to try to do it yourself. Can you do it? Catch yourself, feel it. And when you do, as soon as you do, I want you to break those physical feedback loops. Rub your face, pull on your ears, start to feel the relief that you're not that person. They just look a lot like you. This is one of my favorites, pulling on the ears, or if you. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What happens? We've got a lot of people who understand the body here, right? So what happens when I interrupt an automatic process and replace those stimuli with something else? Can I fall into that same physical pattern if I've interrupted it and shifted it. This is the key. With our dissociated images, we can use all of our memories, identify those physical things, and interrupt them so that we don't have to fall into our old patterns. This is one of the most magical things I've ever experienced. And like I told you, I had to learn to visualize like this. I had suffered a traumatic brain injury when I was 18, and I just went blank. And so between biofeedback and these amazing questions and getting healthier with food and finding oils and like learning all these new things that support me becoming the best version of me, I also needed to understand how I could eliminate the ghosts from my past from still having an impact on my future. And this is one of the fastest and easiest ways that I have discovered to be able to do this. Everybody take a deep breath. I want to take you through one last thing because I seem to have done that one really quickly. I want to bring you to an associated image because once we identify all of those cues, and we call these cues. So the trigger is the thing that gets you upset, but the cues are the things that you can interrupt before you fall into the pattern. We cannot avoid our triggers. We can't. The world is too full of them. But if we can identify our cues, the things that let us know that we've been triggered, then we don't have to fall victim to old patterns. What we do once we identify those cues, because I don't know how many of you, I mean, I know this feels really good, but maybe the image is still kind of around, right? So what we want to do now is think, what would be better? You can do this in one of two ways. You can either take a memory, right? Something that was wonderful, that made you feel amazing, and sit in that. Or you can start to imagine yourself not being bothered by these things, being able to roll with it. The world bounces off of me and I still move forward. Whatever makes you feel like you have to take that deeper breath and feel into this moment. I want you to pull up this image. Can you start to see it? I want to see some nods. Can we see it? All right, now is this image in color or in black and white? And if it's in black and white, I want you to turn it to color. And if it's in color already, make those colors more vibrant, more pleasing. People who know me know I add glitter. I love sparkles. Okay, now that you've got that in full color and it makes you feel so amazing, I want you to pay attention to the speed. Is it moving at the speed that you like? Does it need to move a little faster, slower? Make it move in perfect human time, however that is for you. And when you've got that, I want you to make sure that you are looking through your own eyes, breathing through your own lungs, feeling through your own fingers in this image. I want you to look out and say, are there any other sensory elements of this image that would make it more pleasing? Is there music, the voices of people that you love? What can you add to this that will literally transport you for this moment and make you go? When you have this image, I want you to make sure that it is all around you. Spin in this image. And note the difference that you feel in this image. This is one of my absolute favorite magical tools. And it is so easy to learn. And if you can become aware and say, I don't like this, you can replace what's in here with an image of your choosing that you can modify so that it makes you feel centered and peaceful so that you can function from there. Because in the real world, our emotions equal our behavior. And if we are functioning from a place of distress and disease, that is how we show up in the world. Using visualizations does not change our external reality, it changes our internal reality so that we move into our external reality from our best possible place. I would love to answer any questions that you have. I know I could talk about this stuff for days, but I see that we've got some time here, and I'd love to know about your experience with these. They are separate tools, but I kind of brought them together because they work so well together. So I'm going to stop talking and open myself up for questions. Thank you.
I really love that, Liz. And I love how you put them together, because for me, it was more helpful to put them together.
Well, and there is something to be said once you do your dissociated image and find your cues, to then put yourself into that empowered place is really important, so that you don't stay in that stuck place. Debbie?
I was going to say, I love having learned that, because I've worked a lot with the associated image, the visualization, the, going through the body and all of those things, seeing yourself in a lovely forest or by the beach. The dissociation, I think, is really great. And I know that I've read a lot when people working with illnesses actually go through and see. One of the health coaches I know that I work with, found a lump, and she would actually see herself expelling that lump out her little bottom. And she, that was the way that she actually got rid of that lump. So on a physical level, it can actually have an effect.
So that's actually another tool that I teach is, well, and I don't know about physical lumps, but the emotional pain that people have, right? So if you feel butterflies in your stomach or like a weight on your chest, if it's emotional, I teach people how to titrate that out of their system so that it doesn't cause a lasting impact. Because I think we all know that our emotional pain is related to our physical pain. We dose ourselves with all these neurotransmitters, they become toxic, and then we get sick. Dr. Cheney could tell us more about that too, I'm sure.
No, I love what you put together. Those are principles that are really important, but I love the way you've actualized them. And so you help people actually make that transition. So good work.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cheney. That means a lot to me. Anybody have any questions about it? How it works? Did anybody experience like an aha moment in their dissociated image? For me, the first time I went through that, I mean, I had no idea. Do you know how quickly this happens? And for me, it was surprise when I first did this. So it was like, I don't know, I get surprised and I just burst into tears, right? Even at surprise birthday parties, that was me, right? But truly to be able to slow it down so that I could watch every moment and be able to see what happens to my eyebrows, what happens to my shoulder. My neck does some funny things, right? Like, who knew the spine could do that? But ahas, if you can take the time to do it. And then, of course, once you identify those cues, just like anything else you're learning, the most important thing for you to do then is practice feeling it and switching out of it. Right? Eyebrow up, no, come down, baby. Right? So I think then that is my time, and I really appreciate you guys being here and participating so fully. Thank you so much. I applaud for myself.
Thank you.